The FBI said it is investigating what it claims was another attempt on former President Trump's life. This time, he was almost clapped on the golf course. The suspect is in custody after the Secret Service discovered a man outside Donald Trump's international golf course in West Palm Beach, Florida, pointing an assault rifle through the fence near the fifth hole where Trump was golfing. Secret Service fired at the man who fled and was later captured. He's been identified as 58-year-old Ryan Ruth, and he cuts a bizarre figure based on his social media presence. He was an obsessive defender of Ukraine, spent time recently in the country, and said he was willing to fight and die for Ukraine. Here he was being interviewed by Newsweek 2 years ago while he was in Ukraine.
Plan B was to come here to Kyiv and promote getting more people here. You know, we need thousands and thousands and thousands of people here fighting with the Ukrainians. We need, you know, we've got 190 countries around the world, and we need thousands from all of them. If the governments will not send their official military, then we civilians have to pick up the torch and make this thing happen. And we've gotten some wonderful people here, but it's a small fraction of the number that should be here. If we have 5,000, you know, to 10,000 people here fighting, you know, that is just a minuscule amount of the 5 billion people on the globe. You know, we need everyone here fighting.
He does have a point. If Ukraine can recruit 5 billion people to fight for them, then they'd easily repel Russia and probably take over the entire world. The New York Times also wrote about Ruth last summer and his attempts to recruit foreign fighters to join the Ukrainian army. Quote, Ryan Ruth, a former construction worker from Greensboro, North Carolina, is seeking recruits from among Afghan soldiers who fled the Taliban. Mr. Ruth, who spent several months in Ukraine last year, said he planned to move them, in some cases illegally, from Pakistan and Iran to Ukraine. He said dozens had expressed interest. Quote, we can probably purchase some passports through Pakistan since it's such a corrupt country, he said in an interview from Washington. Ruth claimed on Facebook that he was a secret liaison with the Ukrainian government, but Kyiv denied that he worked for them in any capacity. Ruth also appears to be a Vivek guy. Here's a tweet from him in January urging Vivek Ramaswamy not to drop out of the Republican primary and to instead form a unity ticket with Nikki Haley. Vivek and Nikki Haley, which, suggests that this guy might have been mentally ill. I mean, what other explanation is there to be a Vivek guy? So this appears to be another case of a person with conservative leanings motivated to take a shot at Trump, just like the alleged attempted assassin in Butler County, Pennsylvania, Thomas Crooks. But of course, Trump world is blaming the left for the threats to his life. Vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance said that the, quote, left needs to tone down the rhetoric. Well, that's pretty rich coming from the senator whose own rhetoric about his own Haitian constituents has put a giant target on their backs. Trump world's repeated lies about Haitian Americans and immigrants have led to bomb threats and intimidation against those communities in Ohio. And right-wing media is amplifying the attacks by turning routine traffic accidents into front-page disaster headlines simply because the driver involved was Haitian. And Trump has vowed that if elected, he'd begin his mass deportation campaign with Haitians in Ohio, even though most of them reside in the U.S. legally. So please, spare me the whining about heated rhetoric, especially since it's the president's and the right's own rhetoric that has created this hothouse environment of politics. And it's the president's own decisions that have put him at risk. The main threat to his life is actually from Iran, and that's because he chose to assassinate the nation's top general. I simply would not have done that if I didn't want assassins chasing me the rest of my dang life. Also, the Secret Service has previously warned Trump that him golfing so much isn't safe. But he doesn't care. This is from the Washington Post this week. Quote, Soon after Donald Trump became president, authorities tried to warn him about the risks posed by golfing at his own courses because of their proximity to public roads. Secret Service agents came armed with unusual evidence, not suspect profiles or spent bullet casings, but simple photographs taken by news crews of him golfing at his private club in Sterling, Virginia. They reasoned that if photographers with long-range lenses could get the president in their sights while he golfed, so too could potential gunmen. But Trump insisted that his clubs were safe and that he wanted to keep golfing. Well, as Metallica once said, "My lifestyle determines my death style." Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our new videos. Also, if you want to see Means Morning News in its complete form, not just the clips we post here, head on over to Means TV and get access to all our new episodes and our entire backlog, plus tons of other great movies and original TV shows.